Hello and welcome. Today we're going to be looking at how we can factorize quadratics, a topic that's very commonly assessed in the exam. So quadratic is when you have the highest power to be 2. Today we're going to be focusing on quadratics with 3 terms, those that are given in the form ax squared plus bx plus c, and we're going to be looking at how we can factorize these. So for us to factorize these, we're going to be using the product sum factor method. So for each of the questions that we're going to be covering today, we will find what the product is, what the sum is, and what the factors are. Now the product is always gotten by multiplying a and c together. If you look at the expression in question, the coefficient of x squared, which is given as a, is 1, and c is given as 6. So we're supposed to do 1 multiplied by 6, giving me 6. The sum is the term in the middle, the b term. Make sure these are arranged in the same way unless you're okay with picking out which one's a, b, and c. And in this case, it's going to be 5. The factors are now what we need to identify. So the factors refer to two numbers that when you multiply, you would get 6. That's why it's called a product. But when you add, you get 5, and that's why it's called the sum. So what we're going to do is we're going to list the factors of 6. So what numbers can I multiply to get 6? I can multiply 1 and 6. I can also multiply 2 and 3. There's no other factors, so we can stop there. So these meet the first condition. We need to find out which pair meets the second condition. So which numbers can I add to get 5? 1 and 6 would give me a total of 7. So that's out of question. However, 2 and 3 gives me a total of 5. So this means the factors that we're going to be using are 2 and 3. Now that we've identified the factors, what we're going to do is we're going to rewrite what was given as the question. But in place of the b term, the 5x, we're going to include what we have found as our factors. So 2x plus 3x plus 6. And you notice that we haven't really changed anything, because if you were to collect your like terms, you would still end up with x squared plus 5x plus 6. Now, after having done that, you need to factorize this in parts. So you take the first pair and see what's common. I see that x is common, and so I'm going to factor out that and be left with x plus 2. And then I take the second pair over here and see what's common there. I see 3 is common, and I'm going to be left with x plus 2 once again. Now, it's very important that what you have in the brackets is the same. If it's not the same, then we've made a mistake somewhere along the line, and you need to retrace to find the problem. Now that we have x plus 2 that's common in both of them, I'm going to factor that out. So I'm going to factor out the x plus 2, and when I do that, I'm going to be left with x plus 3. And that there is my solution.